So, hopefully this is good enough for you. As you see, I have my 6 tiers. This is how I graded all the individual components as well as the characters themselves. I have not graded the characters. That's what the point of the stream is for. The different categories I have on them are their BSB, their record spheres, complementary soul breaks, and their future potential, as well as I added little notes for useful ability sets that they have. Is Fusion considered a black mage? Yes. I put anybody on this list that can hit Black Magic 5, including people that don't even belong on this list. I just automatically put them in the basement category at the bottom. I know I said I was gonna rate these people on stream, but Tella, Red 13, and Reno start out in E. Red 13 does get Black Magic 5. It's a little nuts. But he's a support, he's not a black mage. So he doesn't work in here. Alright, we're back. Yeah, there's a reason why a lot of people are E for future. I did the future rankings. Why? What's up, Peril? Yeah, I do have a Radiohead tattoo. It's from the OK Computer album. Okay. So how should I even structure this? Should we just start at the bottom? Should we start filing people into the S and the E tiers? And then kind of fill in as we go because it's going to get harder from there? How about that? Alright, well, just for starters, we have Tella, Red 13, and Reno in the E tier. The reasons for this is because Red 13 is a support. And all the buffs that he gives, I would have even considered him an okay mage support if any of the buff things that he gave magic. But it's all like attack, attack defense resistance, and stuff like that. Red 13 has nothing to do with mages other than the fact that he has Black Magic 5. So, yeah, he doesn't count. Reno's Burst Soul Break is physical only, no magical. So that kind of removes him from the question of being a decent mage. And his Soul Breaks do not... The Soul Breaks that he gets do not enter him into the category of mage either. So, he's just another... I've got Black Magic 5 and I don't know what to do with it. Tella is just awful. He at least gets White Magic 5, so he's a pure sage. The +1 is for with record spheres. The problem is he never gets a Burst Soul Break, which just okay. And he doesn't ever get anything. The highest grade I gave him was complimentary is a C and record sphere is C. He's just sorry Tella. It's okay. DNA doomed Tella, and then gave him things that gave him doom. Next, who can we throw in the E category? Let's see. We have Materia with... Well, first I'm going to say I'm going to heavily weight people based on their BSBs. This isn't like you don't take the average of the grade that I gave these and bam, you have their tier. It's heavily weighted upon their BSB. Either current BSB or future BSB. So looking at Materia, this is just an awful array of stuff. Materia goes in E. Yes, E is bad. This is the ranking. S and E are the top and the bottom. So Materia is E rank. One second. I'm going to open the document up. No, I'm not adding Witch. Which is just bad. Yeah, she hits 3 weaknesses, but she doesn't do it very good. So, Materia is taken care of. Maya, no. Emperor. Emperor is okay. Because he's got White Magic 4 available to him. I guess. We will revisit Materia and see if she's good enough to enter the D tier. Well, it's easier to start at the extremes. That's why I'm going to do that. I'm going to start at the bottom, and then I'm going to work my way S, A, B, C, D. So, okay, we'll take Materia off the list. We'll just... Who is equivalent to as bad as Tella is? Yeah, having Darkness 4 or 5 allows them to use Memento Mori, which is really nice. So the next person on the list with an E tier BSB is Terra. But we know from the future that Terra gets a good USB and she gets Legend Materia potential, so she does not belong in the E tier. Absolutely not. Do I consider equipment? Refia's poor weapon selection should drag her down some. Yes, I do. So when I eventually get to that portion, then yes. But this is Black Mage only stream. Strago's actually very good. He's going to be at least B tier. Vincent is good. Rinoa. In her current form, Rinoa belongs in probably D tier. Maybe even E, but the fact that she gets Legend Materia and she gets a CSB and she gets a BSB2 that's actually decent means that she does not belong in E tier. Vivi's pretty bad, but he's average. There's a reason why I put his BSB at C, is because it is the average of the average. It is just attach fire, and then it does a single target, and then an AoE command that don't do anything special. But he's got a lot of future ahead of him. Oh god, yeah. Rydia. The thing is, Rydia is... She is just... I wish there was an F. Like, Rydia is dumped upon so poorly. But the fact that she has a decent BSB plus an OSB means that she's saved from the axe. Yeah, Fusoya. Right. I have him as no BSB, but he has a complimentary C because of the buffing and imperil thing. Fusoya is probably going to be D tier because it's nice that he has a Magic Mind Faithka, but it's an Imperil Dark Faithka, which he himself cannot take advantage of. So, I don't know. He doesn't belong on the teams that he buffs. It's sad. So he's going to be D. Yeah, we're not going on averages. Yeah, Fusoya has an Imperil Dark Faithka. Like, what thing other than Drenga, the 4-star Black Mage ability, can Fusoya use that does dark damage? None of his soul breaks do dark damage. Drenga is seriously the only way he can exploit that weakness. Does Lan have Black Magic 5? If so, then I apologize. But I don't believe he does. He does not have any black magic at all, so he's not a mage. There's other people with summon 5, like Garnet and Yuna, that aren't on this list, and they're not on this list for a reason. We're only evaluating black mages. Okay, so yeah. Tella, Red 13, and Reno are the only ones that belong in E tier. They're the only ones bad enough. Braska has a no burst soul break and won't have a burst soul break by the next festival, but he has a bright future ahead of him. So, he gets to stay on. So, let's go to S tier. This one is going to be a little more expansive. Echo doesn't belong there. Matoya obviously doesn't belong there. Maya does not belong there. Maria. She has a S tier burst soul break. The ability to be a white mage 4. Great record spheres. Yes, Braska definitely has a bright future ahead of him. Also, yes, he does have a Faithka too. It's a nice complementary piece. Maria has Legend Materia. Doesn't have a whole lot coming to her in the future, though. Why is that? Oh, yeah, the future C is that just there because she has Legend Materia coming. But is she good enough right now to enter the S tier? Oh, God, that's tough. I don't think so. I think she belongs... No, actually, I think she does. She just does as spectacularly what a lot of other people just can't, and that is deal single target damage. I'm pretty sure that Maria, Papalimo, and Nadia all belong in S tier. I mean, how do I want to separate S and A? It should S be... I should stick to what it says up here. A league of its own. So Maria doesn't have... all she has is what she has right now, which is really good. But we're going to put Maria in A tier. So, moving on. Emperor, no. Dash, no, unfortunately. Desh is... What we see is what we get. Desh is a support 4, Bard 5, so he can use the Protector Shelga with one of probably the most damaging lightning bursts for mages. The problem is he's got nothing else for him. He has no Legend Materia coming. He does have good complementary pieces with that Imperial Lightning Soul Break. Desh is definitely an A-tier mage. Definitely doesn't belong in S. I have not done Ash. I'm not going to do mages... I'm not going down the list and then putting people in tiers. I'm going to do tiers and go down the list there. Let's see. Onion Knight is Onion Knight. Cloud of Darkness, no. Rydia, no. Palom, no. Tala, no. Fusoya, no. Golbez, unfortunately, he's got a good and a weird BSB, but it's not like, you know, it doesn't stand above everything else. It just stands to the side and does something that they can't. Gogo's cool, but no. X-Death is a character, while I was researching on this list, that really popped out to me. He is one of the only people, Fusion and X-Death and Reigns and Papa Limo, oh god, Rafa and Malik, all have S's in their future. X-Death just gets really good. He has incredible Legend Materia, and he gets an extremely good USB. He is the mage version of Celis, and it shows. So, X-Death is probably going to go into A tier, even though his BSB is kind of because he can do so many things. He's not S, but definitely A. So he'll be in the A. Krill, no. Terra, no, I'm sorry, not with a BSB that bad. Strago, oh god, Strago's really good. Like, look at this ability pool. He gets Summoning 6 and White Magic 5. And has a really good Burst Soul Break and a rarely used Mage element. It's an attached Water Burst. And the only Mage Burst, Mage Burst command ability, anything in the game that penetrates resistance. It's actually really good, and eventually turns Drago into a premier mage. It's kind of fun. Let's see, Kefka, no, but Kefka has a BSB 2 coming in the future. That's what his future C is for. But it's just okay. There's nothing here that really pushes him ahead. Red 13, no. Vincent is another character that I was more impressed with than I thought I would be. He has a lot of good soul breaks coming up, and his Legend Materia is perfectly suited for him and allows him to put out some damage, as well as having a broad pool and a support 4 mage, which definitely, you know, puts him ahead since he has a good burst. Strago is very good. He's a lot better than anyone, understandably, would think he would be, because he's been neglected, as most of the Final Fantasy VI cast has been. But Vincent, while being a whole lot better than I thought he was, is actually more A, B, not S. Reno, absolutely not. Rinoa, absolutely not. Quistis is definitely A. She's a support 4 mage with a OSB that combos with her BSB. Good to great complementary soul breaks in Mighty Guard and even Cerberus sometimes. The reason why I don't put her as S tier is because what we have right now is how as good as she is. She'll be at the top end of A. Dia. Oh. Here's another one. Here's a second in the Maria category that make me wonder whether or not they belong in S. But I think it's the fact that Adia doesn't do anything beyond that ice damage. that makes me think, and the fact that her complementary soul break, she has a single target Imperil Dark, which isn't even that good because her burst, which is what makes her amazing, her S tier burst, is ice based. Even though it does dark damage, the plus 50% ice damage that you get from the attach ice status makes it much more of an ice burst than a dark burst. So you would need 3 sacks of the Imperil in order for her dark damage to do more than her ice damage. So no thanks. She does get the parade though, which at the end of the day still is a Faith Gaheska, even if it's superseded. I think why she doesn't belong in A tier right now is because her future is nothing. She doesn't get any legend materia, and she just stops cold. So Adia is totally at the top of A, just like Maria. Alright, here is our first entry in S. There's no case I can make against Fusion. She has a phenomenal ability set. She's a support mage, white magic 4, ninja 5, that's something no one else other than... Yep, no one else here has. Her BSB is S tier, and she has a S tier future because she basically has a banner dedicated to her that gives her legend materia, that give her attach wind, and that means she gets legend spheres that do good things for her, and she gets an OSB. Fusion is our first S tier mage. There is nothing bad about this character. She is the top of the game. Maybe that's why Adia is so strong now. She used time compression to make sure that she took everything that she would make her good in the future and make her good now. Vivi. He's just basic, even with his burst soul break. His second burst soul break that he'll be getting, that's under future since it's past the next festival. And the fact that he gets some great legend materia. Yeah, he's going to be probably A tier. If I wasn't taking the future into consideration, he would be more CB, but he gets some great legend materia. Plus he has an OSB that pairs with his BSBs. And he just gets a lot of complementary stuff that pairs well with each other, just for him. Vivi actually ascends, and I'm probably going to throw him in the A tier. Kuja is really good. He's really, really good. Has the best Imperil Dark Mage Burst, and the fact that it rivals the damage output of a lot of attach element bursts, even though you're only getting the base 20% increased damage for the Imperil instead of the 50. And Kuja gets a really good OSB that does exactly what his burst does, if everyone wants to see. Because I think a lot of people don't understand how good Kuja is. So I'm going to go just for a little bit in a second into how good he is. And it's understandable because a lot of what makes Kuja good is his BSB, coupled with the fact that he gets an OSB very soon on inside the next festival. It does additional damage under Doom, which is something that you almost always have on your Dark Mages anyway. So Kuja is a sneaky one of the best characters in the game. I'm probably going to throw him in A tier, but I'm going to go over him right now. The plus 20 magic to all allies soul break, not that great. This would be a nice attach dark addition to him. Like add on to the fact that he does Imperil Dark with his burst. And but he gets an attach dark super soul break later, so it kind of nullifies how good this is. So you're looking at Kuja as this 3 soul break collection. He has a great burst, the best Imperil Dark burst in the game, one of the best Imperil bursts in the game. This Soul Break is exactly what you're looking for as far as like complementary piece is concerned. And then you have a really good Mage OSB in the fact that it does a increased multiplier if he has Doom, which is a condition that you're going to hit anyway. It's like those ramp up OSBs where you're already hitting the conditions at the start of the fight. Dark Flare Star. Dark Flare Star is a super soul break, but Dread of Death is not. That's what I was talking about. Dark Flare Star is almost OSB strength. Not even close. Dark Flare Star is a 17.6 multiplier that can only hit 80,000, while his OSB is a 44 multiplier that caps out at 100,000. Kuja is awesome, but Dark Flare Star is definitely not the reason. Okay, moving on. The fact that I don't put Kuja in S tier is more... he's kind of one trick, I guess. And the fact that he's just doing damage, and I don't know. I mean, doing damage is what you're asking for from Black Mages. I'll have to think about that one. You know what? It's probably the fact that while his burst does a lot of damage, it's hindered by the fact that the commands, the increased damage potential of them says you do more multiplier if you meet this condition. That means that his commands cap out at 40,000 and 20,000 respectively. Whereas if you have another mage like Fusion, for example, whose damage potential is actually extended because it's the damage boost is in the lower cast time. Though, granted, Fusion is not good because of her damage output. It's just one of the many things. Anyway, let's move on. Lulu's bad, but she does get a USB that's okay, and she gets Legend Materia unlock. So she does have a better future, even though she's bad now. She'll be probably C tier. She would go in D just like Materia because they're very similar mages, and the fact that they spread themselves out is a terrible way to refer to women. But they spread out and don't do anything well. That's Lulu's problem. But she does get some options and has good Legend Materia, so she'll probably be C and not D like Matoya. Kuja's BSB is better than Gilles. The difference isn't in their BSBs, it's in Gilles has support 4. And that is a huge, huge boost in someone's effectiveness. Hey Shadow, glad you could make it. Alright, who was next? Braska. Braska's weird in the fact that he has no BSB at the moment, but I'm still going to rate him well because he has a good complementary piece in his Summoner Robe. It's a great Kefka, as it pairs together well with teams that have a Haskell on them. And his burst that does appear in between the next 2 festivals, so this is a future consideration, is actually quite good. Hey, Caspa. So Braska's not going to be E tier. It's definitely not S tier. Seymour, no. Shantoto is like... I'm so close to being good across the board. I'm so close to being the best. And they treat her well. And that's why we have the future at A. She gets a lot of development. She gets her Legend Materias. But she's like a good version of Matoya. She gets Darkness 4, which is great because that gives her access to Memento Mori. So Shantoto's probably going to be A or B. We'll cross that bridge when I come to it. Let's see, Ashe. She's a summoner. She has a good burst that, while it has run into some issues due to power creep, is still quite good. It still does good damage. It just a little hindered by the fact that the first command isn't non-elemental. But that becomes less of a problem, surprisingly, as the more stuff we get, the more able we are to create teams that fit the element that we're facing against, either whether that be elemental or non-elemental. So it's not like you would be using, if, let's say she had a non-elemental option on her command 1, it's not like we would be using her in a fight that was omni-resist anyway. We'd be using non-elemental options. So while there was a lull, and I suppose she still exists in that lull, she comes back into the scene when the only time you would use a character like Ashe would be against something where you're exploiting weakness anyway. Record spheres are... I was surprised, and I'm happy because I completely record dove her. She has an amazing record sphere. She has everything, just increases her damage output. There's no little crappy things like, you know, adding resist that you don't care about, or abilities that you're never going to use. As a future character, I put her as B. I think that's a little high, because she doesn't have a future as far as soul breaks are concerned. What we have is what she gets. So I think I would, on second thought, put this down to C, and the only reason why I put it down to C is because she does get Legend Materia, and they're very good. She gets a 35% chance to dual cast lightning abilities, Record Materia, which does work with her command 1, which is really nice. It's a lot of damage output. Complementary, I have her rated as B automatically because she has an OSB. So Ashe is an A tier mage. Yeah, doesn't belong in S tier though. Vayne, no. Hope, no. Sarah, no. Reigns, welcome to the S tier. Reigns is disgusting, and I'm ashamed of the fact that this character exists in the game, because he's so good right now. He's so good right now, and what do they go and do? There's so many people on this list that I have rated as E for future, because they didn't get Legend Materia, they're not improved upon, they don't get any more soul breaks. What do they do with Reigns? They just double down. They give him an OSB, an awesome Legend Materia that allow him to dual cast Holy and Dark abilities, you know, which include his bursts and stuff like that. He's just disgusting. I'm not going to go into it because I just get depressed at how bad they've treated this just overpowered character. And he's got support 4. It's like there's no real I don't know, guesswork involved. That a lot of what Jimbo said at the start of the stream, a lot of the best mages in the game have support 4 access. Support 4 access and good bursts. Okay, next we have Papa Limo, who, surprisingly, unlike Maria and Adia, has an S-tier burst. He has some of the best record spheres in the game to just pump up his damage. He gets White Magic 4 access. And the reason why I'm going to put Papa Limo in S-tier is because he has incredible complementary soul breaks, and his future is awesome. He has great Legend Materia. He gets an OSB. Papa Limo is actually an S-tier mage. Yeah, he's just really, really good. I looked into it and I was surprised, but he gets an awesome OSB. I mean, 38 base, and it's increases with fire attacks used. That's one of the best like conditionals that we can get on OSBs. His Legend Materia are awesome. He's the only one of the 3 scaling mages that get access to the Legend Materia, and his Legend Materia are 35% chance to dual cast fire abilities. If anyone's keeping track, this gives Papalymo the ability with his command 1 to do 120,000 damage. Like, and grant attached fire at the beginning of the battle is not that great, but you're probably going to use these 2 LM. Yeah, it's disgusting. It's just disgusting how much damage he can put out. So he actually belongs in S tier. Everything about Papalymo is good. Let's see. We have Alphino next. Alphino is the only mage. I thought that there were more mages with Alphino's ability pool, but apparently he is still the only most mage, where he has 6-star summoning, black magic, and white magic. We already know that his BSB is S tier. He has great record spheres. I rated it as A instead of S because he has kind of a tree that you don't have to go into, his white magic tree. I probably will in the future because I think it's neat that he can use Curada. If anyone's been watching my U++s lately, what I've liked to do with Alphino is stick him into the battle as an off healer while everyone else is doing damage, and then halfway through the fight, that's when he'll trigger his burst and start going in. And that would be a perfect scenario to carry like Protect Urshel on him and Curada. So having White Magic 6 on him would actually be quite awesome. Alphino gets a USB. It's being served in the current festival in Japan right now. I'm iffy on it. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I talked about that at the start of the stream. And here is where I feel like Alphino may fall out of S tier, is because he doesn't get access to Legend Materia. Though his complementary soul breaks are unique and among the best. His deployment tactics is, as far as I know, the only thing that does what it does, and that's do an attack magic party buff to the team and give everyone Radiant Shield. Why did I put his future at B? I think I was looking at the fact that he got his USB and I was unsure of what it did. I did more research on its USB today and I'm not really sure how I feel about it. I think Alphino is going to be moved out of S tier. Papalymo is the only S tier mage that doesn't have support 4 as so far, because Papalymo just does what he does so exceptionally well. Can anyone here besides, like, help me out? Let's make a case for Alphino S tier. As soon as he gets his Legend Materia, yeah, totally S tier. So I guess I'm gonna leave him out for now. Alphino's strengths are he does a ton of damage. His commands are summoning based, so he doesn't trigger counters. The Ether command makes him I don't know, flexible and allows him to do a whole ton of things. Yeah, I think you're right. The summon BSB commands, I was not taking that into consideration. I think even without Legend Materia, Alphino may be. Because nobody can do what he does, and he does everything that he does so well. No one can White Magic 6 like him. And he's a great white mage too. Like his mind pool is no joke. They don't skimp on it. They don't just give him white magic and give him a low mind pool, like say someone like Beatrix. And he only access to all 4 magic pools. He is, yeah, he is. Even without Legend Materia, he is S tier. Okay, I'm in. Okay. Moving on. We have Rafa. There's a new addition to the team. As you can see, really cool ability pool with White Magic 4, Ninja 4, Dancer 4. I added Ninja 4, I don't know, for the sake of completion, even though it's really not that great. I guess it gives her the ability to use the piercing Ninja 3-star commands or abilities. So while she's a lightning mage at heart, she can still do fire and water and AoE, because those abilities are one of the few 3-stars that I still keep in my lineup, because they have such weird uses, but when they are useful, they're really awesome. And Gust is the same way. That's a Ninja 4-star. Well, yeah, error, because that's a given. Why consider that when everybody has that, you know? If this is a comparison of mages, why compare the thing that is constant? So, okay, Ninja 4 is still something worth. Dancer 4 is totally cool. It gives her support capability, unfortunately doesn't give her wrath capability, which may push her out of A tier. The problem is she has an S tier burst. And Rafa and Malik are actually treated very well in the future and in a future tactics event. And I'm going to show you. And this is probably why I'm going to put them in, or at least Rafa in S tier. So Rafa gets these 3 Legend Materia. Increases lightning damage dealt by 10%. This is just the basic opening Legend Materia. 35% chance to dual cast lightning abilities. That means her Command 1 has a chance to dual cast, which means not only that you do the damage twice, but you do the heal on the lowest party member twice as well. Yeah. Really, really powerful. And her LMR is unknown percentage chance to quick cast after using a lightning attack. There are other LMs like this. And I'm going to guess. Yeah, I'm not even going to guess because I can't find it. Anyway, these are 2 very good Legend Materia for her that solve part of her problem with the fact that she uses her burst and you're usually scraping at the end of the burst to get off a second burst. These Legend Materia are extremely good, but wouldn't be enough to put her in S tier. However, they give Rafa a USB, and the USB is phenomenal. It's a natural, or not a type, sorry. I always call it natural. All allies, party Faithka, and Haska, and quick magical attacks. So ley lines, and grants attached lightning to the user. Yeah, that's a really, really good USB. You improve upon an already awesome Super Soul Break, and throw attached lightning, which absolutely synergizes with what she does. This plus her incredible Legend Materia puts Rafa in S tier in my eyes. Oh, well, I mean, and her clearly S tier burst. So moving on, we have Malik, who is a lot better. If anyone's taken a look, I know I've linked it in the chat in the past, at Skyfire's BSB rankings. He incorrectly lists Malik's burst soul break, and it loses a lot of ranking in the process. And I was a little confused because that was in the back of my mind when I was evaluating the Final Fantasy Tactics banner. It's a really good burst. Really, really good burst. Black all enemies. Or random enemies, sorry. Lightning Dark. Random attacks. So what you're doing right here is you're applying the magic and resistance debuff. The same one that Fusion does. And that's a great debuff, and the reason why Fusion's is so much better is just because of not so much better overall. I think they are better overall commands, but it's more the instacast on cast, and it's more, I don't know, compact in what it does. And her ability set's better. But what he has listed incorrectly on the rankings is that he has Malik's commands as just normal commands, but they're not. He has 4 single attacks and 2 group attacks, but they're not normal commands, they're half cast time. So this is 0.83 second cast time is ninja cast time. That's excellent. So I just wanted to make note of that before I assess the character, that his burst is a lot better than if people are using that as their guide. On mage bursts, that it's better than advertised. However, he is not an S tier mage, but he is damn good. He'll probably be A tier. He also gets a USB next to Rafa, so they're keeping with that little theme. It's an instacast, 8 random attacks. This is attack, defense, magic, resistance, full breakdown, and grants magic blink 1 to all allies. So you got a damaging USB, high damage, that does full breakdown, and instacast magic blink 1 is always awesome. This is arguably a better USB than Rafa's. Hers is a buffer and his is a debuffer. This is keeping with their themes on their bursts. But I really love this. I love the instacast magic blink, and add on a full breakdown while you're at it. It was a discussion. I asked to be convinced about putting Alphino at S tier, and I was convinced by the chat. Malik is going to go in A tier, definitely not S. So we do have no, that's not our final mage. We have Rain next. So Rain from World of Final Fantasy, the Beyond realm in Final Fantasy Record Keeper, has some good ability pools with White Magic 4 and Summoning 5, along with obviously the Black Magic 5. She has a good Ice BSB. I wonder if I'd put that at A. I will consider redoing that and putting her BSB at an A, because it's actually very good as long as you're hitting weakness. And like I went into when I went over Ashes, is that's when you use these now, is when you're hitting weakness. Or not now, but in the future that will be the case. But she's definitely not S because they gave us Rain and Lawn, and just made them what we got, and they never get seen again, ever. No Legend Materia, no more Soul Breaks, no more events. That's it. It was the World of Final Fantasy launch event, and then they're gone. So she just has a BSB, and that is not enough. That is not enough. She'll probably be B tier because of it. Because while she does have a good burst, she doesn't have... This is Grants haste all allies is not a terribly good complementary piece. She has nothing beyond that. That's it. So she'd probably be high end B, maybe low end A. We'll think about it. So we're at the end of that. We got our S tier mages. How does everyone feel about them so far? Fusion, Sid Reigns, Papalymo, Alphino, Rafa. It gets easier from here since I'm not going to go into as much detail in assessing characters. That was probably the longest time through the list that we're going to get. All right, well, I'll be right back. I need another drink. A lot of talking. Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was as I was putting together my iced coffee sketch. Um, I just don't feel like Kuja can do really great things. I think he's one of the best mages in the game. It's just, let's say, compare Kuja to these 5 mages. Can he debuff as well as Fusion and deal damage at the same time as well as Fusion? No. Does he buff the team and increase their damage output as well as put out the sick amount of damage that Sid Reigns can do? No, he's not as good as Sid Reigns. Papalymo, can he do 120,000 damage with a single burst command? No. Yeah, well, I think that's what I keep coming back to when I want to limit Kuja from being an S tier, is that his burst limits him. While it's a really, really good burst, he only gets the 4 attacks. And they're slow cast time. Whereas you look at Papalymo's and he does the 6 attacks, and that's a much higher damage potential. He sort of does buff the team, but you need to create a whole team with that. Whereas Reigns, you can slot in whatever you want on it. He's on the cusp. Absolutely. There's no way Kuja falls below A. He's at the top of A. Rafa's utility and party buffing is just way too good. The only one that comes close to being Kuja tier is Alphino, because he was someone I needed to be convinced to put in the top. The thing is, it's Alphino's massive flexibility that not even Kuja has that puts Alphino over the edge. Kuja having White Magic 5 and Darkness 5 is really nice. It just... Alphino also has that in his White Magic 5 and Summoning 5. That kind of flexibility, plus his Ether Command. I think the Ether Command is what does it. And the Instacast Command 1 means his damage potential is going to exceed what Kuja can do. I really want Kuja to be there, but he's going to have to be A tier. Just know that he's on the edge. I don't want to underrate him. Because I think he does get underrated often. But he's at the top of A. He'll be the first A mage, because he's the only one that makes me think. No other A tier mage is going to make me do that. Not even Maria or Rydia. Alright. So let's move on to A tier. Echo. Echo is a sneaky awesome character. I don't know if anyone has seen this character or even bothered to look at her. But White Magic 4 to go with her Black Magic, and Dancer 5, which is really interesting. And then you throw in what is a good BSB that's coming up in the next event, and that's probably why a lot of people haven't bothered looking at Echo. I think a lot of people are like me and they treat Final Fantasy 1 as an off-realm. Just like a novelty boutique realm. But let's take a look at her first burst, and she gets a second burst in Japan that appears in the Final Fantasy 1 event after that. And that goes under future considerations, because that doesn't happen within the next festival time. But look at her burst. We have a scaling Medica. That's a little weird as is, but awesome, very welcome. Doing that can lift a lot of burden off of your healer. I mean, imagine using it near the start of the fight. It can make... See... Like, I know I'm stuttering a lot on this one. It's just a very weird character to assess. The reason why you want support 4 on a mage is so that you can give them a damage RM and allow them to generate their own soul break bar, so you don't have to use Mako Might or Dr. Mark's teachings on them. And the reason why you do that is so you can use something like that on your healer and your support instead, because you want to get a lot of the effects that they can do off at the start of the fight, or, you know, on a buffer. But here's the interesting thing, is that Echo is a buffer and does a Medica. She has the magic and resistance plus 30% to all allies and grants haste and burst to the user. So she takes burden off of the healer and buffs the party. So she is a mage worth using Mako Might and Dr. Mark's teachings on. So what you can do instead, say you throw her on a team with Ishtola or Larsa, you can have them Wrath at the start of the fight instead, while Echo takes care of the beginning healing. So you have your healer wrapping instead, that means they're using Ace Striker or Battle Forge. So over the course of the fight, they're generating a lot more Soul Break, and they're able to heal better, and while Echo can then transition to being an attack mage. We'll take a look at her commands and see if the interesting part of her opener on the burst is supported by the two commands. And what we have here is two really basic commands. Unfortunately, they're not as cool as the entry is. 10.48 is actually a pretty good multiplier, even though it's a basic 4 attacks. Problem is just regular cast time, so it's just high damage. This is very similar to Ash's first command. Except Echo doesn't benefit from getting attached. She's more the buffer and the supporter and the utility. And Echo's second command is... I don't know how to feel about it. It doesn't do any damage. If this did damage, it'd be actually... Oh, it's a dance. So it's a half-assed Magic Breakdown dance. Magic Break, the 3-star combat ability, reduces magic by 30%. Magic Breakdown reduces magic by 50%. This is in a weird DMZ in between them with the 40%. But it is neat. The strange thing is the stop is practically useless. And she's a dancer anyway, so she could have just done this with better with the 50% magic breakdown with the dance instead. So yeah, this is pretty much a worthless command. And that's why I rated Echo's Burst as B tier. Because while it has a really interesting entry, the burst commands don't live up to it. Future A, and there's a reason why I rated her Future as an A, because Echo gets a BSB 2. It's kind of weird evaluating someone with 2 BSBs, and we've gotten neither of them yet. So the entry is all enemies, 13.92. All enemies, that's a pentabreak. So this is the mage version of Fran's Burst. Echo turns into the only support mage. The only true support mage that we get with a pentabreak on her opener. And she's able to dance, and really, she just turns into a support mage. Though I guess you could throw Kate Sith in there too. Yeah, we'll look at his BSB sometime later. But if you take a look at the commands, we have Magical 4.9. This is quite low. But the command effects are actually worth it. We have an attack break, or power breakdown and magic breakdown. Pretty cool that she becomes a support. With an effect that has only been matched at this point by Fran as a physical support. What are the differences and why this isn't going to push Echo in A tier? I'm probably going to put her in B. Is the low damage commands can't live up to what Fran can do. So why do we like Echo? Why? What could put her in A tier? Is it the fact that she's the only real mage support? So okay, you got a mage team and you want a support for your mage team. Your two best choices will be Echo and Mog. Mog is a buffer, while Echo will be a debuffer. If you have their BSB too. And the advantage to Echo over Mog is that Echo actually does damage with her, like decent damage with her with 2 commands, or attack and magic. So if you're stacking magic buffs on your party, she benefits from that, whereas someone like Fran would not. Fran would have to self-buff, which I don't think she has any way of doing. So is that enough for A tier? Mog is OP, yeah. He's not on this list, but He'll probably appear on the support list because he's, I think my support tier list will be anybody with Dancer 5 or Support 5. No, Echo doesn't make A because she doesn't. You're so cool. Echo's so cool. She's just not A. I'm sorry. Matoya's not A. Maya. Maya is someone that is coming out in the next Final Fantasy 1 event. Unfortunately, that's what she gets. She gets her BSB and an SSB. Her BSB is, I believe, is the first Mage attached water. I don't know. I think actually Go-Go comes before it, so he'll be the first. I might be wrong on that. But anyway, her Super Soul Break is an okay complementary piece. Quick Magical Attacks 4 is kind of cool, because what you're going to be doing is casting this in a Torment or a Full Throttle situation. So casting this and then casting her Burst and then getting some quick commands off is pretty awesome. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Mexter. So she's got a decent loadout right there. Let's take a look at her commands. So she has one of the summoning bursts. So she has the 2 commands plus the 2 variations. The summon itself grants her Stitch in Time, which is fine because that's something you're going to be using on her anyway. If it was a character like, Quistis with the command 2 Stitch in Time. By the way, that is plus 30% magic and minus 30% defense, I believe. Recasting the first command will be 4 group water attacks, and casting the second command would be 4 single, and casting the second command with summoning status active would be 4 single with a slightly higher multiplier, very slightly. I think that is to mitigate the fact that you're absolutely always going to be using her her summon command anyway, so they don't want to. They're basically saying that this is worthless because you're always going to be using this. However, I'm probably going to throw Maya in B. She has Summoning 5 and Black Magic 5. Because there's no future, no Legend Materia. Her record spheres, as I saw them, weren't all that great. And it's just an okay burst. There's nothing really all that special about it. It is a little rare-ish in the fact that it's water, but it gets taken out as a water burst by Stragos. So moving on, Maria is A tier. That's not even a question. Next. Emperor has a bad BSB. His complementary is a little weird. He does have some decent stuff, but he gives him something that gives him attach or dark, I believe, or imperil dark, or stuff that does dark when his burst itself does wind. So it's kind of in conflict with each other. Where did Echo go? She's going to go B. I really like Echo, and I think she does some really cool stuff. But what makes her good? Yeah, it's B bordering on A. She just needs a little kick, and then she's in. Yeah, Emperor's a weird duck. It's wind and dark, but I believe his burst is... This is the same thing I said for Maria, right? It's wind and dark and gives him attached wind. This is a wind burst with a dark subset. You're going to be using Emperor against a wind vuln. You do not care about dark. Emperor has summon 4. I don't think he can do white. Was I incorrect on this? Emperor, white magic 4. Summoning 4. So, yeah, I missed the summoning 4. But yeah, he definitely can do white. So, pretty good skill set with white magic, summoning, and darkness. Just has a confused burst, confused stuff, doesn't get legend materia. What was the reason why I rated his future as a C and complementary as B? He gets another soul break soon, doesn't he? Not soon, but in the future. He gets a USB, Earth, Wind, 8 group attacks, causes imperil Earth. This is, like, come on. This isn't complementary at all. Okay, that's why I rated it so good. Attack, magic, resistance minus 50%. That's a super rare debuff. It's probably unique. It's just, God, he's so all over the place with his... Man, Emperor. He's B tier. So he's not A. So we'll move on. He's B because of his versatility. Because he does those different aspects well. It's just not good enough to break into A. Dash is A tier. Support 4 Mage. Highest lightning damage burst in the game. Stitch in Time commands. Gets ninja cast speed. Not ninja cast speed, that's an incorrect way of putting it. Quick magical attacks with his first command. Support 4, yeah. He's A. Onion Knight, Cloud of Darkness, White Magic 4, Darkness 5. I remember hating her burst. Eight random attacks. Grants Radiant Shields. Blah, blah, blah. She does have a good complementary piece in the Attached Dark, which helps her kind of lackluster burst do some damage. Though Radiant Shield is pretty good. I guess that definitely considered... here's where she falls. It's that both of her commands are single target. So she's a single target exclusive mage. Unfortunately, that forces her into B tier. Rydia. God, why does DNA hate Rydia? Has there been 2, maybe 3 Final Fantasy IV events that we haven't gotten yet? And she gets nothing. 0. The Rydia we have now is the Rydia that Japan gets. She does have a decent burst. Those summon commands are a sneaky benefit. But we could really, really use some Rydia stuff. Rydia is going to be a B tier mage. Based solely on the fact that she has summoning commands, a rare element, and she has an OSB that feeds off of the attached status of her BSB. So she is a fairly decent and well put together mage, but she can't break into A. Palom is a weird duck. He's going to be B tier. He has a really high damage potential with his Burst Soul Break, but he has nothing to go along with it. He's one of the better coverage mages because he can do a lot more damage than someone, say, like Lulu or Materia. But with no future, I can't put him in A. Tel is bad, Fusoya is bad, Golbez. Does Golbez belong in A? He's a weird guy. I can't really consider Summon 4 to be that much of a benefit anymore, because, I don't know. I guess he can do some AoE elemental damage. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's worth putting there. He gets summoned 4 record die, but that's what the asterisk is for. Yeah, that's a difficult part of Palom. Right. I do like Palom, and he could be better. Oh, Golbez. I like Golbez. But I think he's going to be relegated to B because they die on Golbez too, just like Rydia. Rydia's OSB event is the last time Golbez ever saw anything. His burst is good, but it's just not enough. If he had Summoning 5 and he had more AoE elemental coverage, I'd love to put him in an A tier. But the Darkness 5 isn't even that useful because his burst gives him the plus 30% magic status. So Memento Mori isn't even that useful for him. So Darkness 5 is actually wasted on Golbez. Doesn't have support. Yeah, unfortunately Golbez is going to be B tier. His defining characteristic is as the tank mage, but it's just it's not enough. Go-Go is not A tier. Xdef. Xdef is a weird character, and I'm gonna have to put Xdef in A. And I feel weird about doing it because his BSB isn't even that good. However, he has such coverage with his ability to do so many things. Any future Knight skills that might bump him to A? No. Unfortunately. I'll show everybody a neat little thing that you can do with Emleer's skill or database. Is go to the Abilities tab, and you can click this little button up here and sort Z to A. This will take the entire abilities pool and sort them by the rarity. So we got all of this, and we see that Knight has Aegis Strike, which, no. I mean, it's neat that he can be a Knight, but it doesn't allow him to do anything. There's just so many better Knights in the game. And Knight abilities, the only one we have is, or don't have, is Divine Cross, which is also physical. And it is just a copy of Gaia's Cross, except holy damage instead. What? That's a weird ability. Anyway, no. Unfortunately, no. Yeah. Grand Cross is it's what set Celeste and Xdeath apart from everybody in the entire game, and it's what only part, because Xdeath is actually a really good character regardless. As you can see, he has a ton of soul breaks. Yeah, if it was Magic Lure, that'd be awesome. His burst isn't bad. It's an Imperiled Arc. It's definitely not as good as Kuja's. But it's still, serviceable. What makes Xdeath good is not only the presence of his original Grand Cross, but he gets a new Grand Cross, and this is under future consideration. Yeah, this is future, because this appears in the Bart BSB 3 event. You heard me correct. Bart BSB 3. What's good about Xdeath is he has so many complementary abilities to go along with this. He has a Magic and Res buff to everybody, as well as a Magic Mind on his USB. The Magic and Mind group attacks and gives him Grand Cross. So this is like, I'm giving myself Grand Cross, plus I'm doing something awesome for the team at the same time. Thing that Celeste gets, except Celeste gets it much earlier, and Celeste is a burst. That's what's going to push Celeste into the S tier of characters, where Xdeath is going to sit squarely and firmly in A. So Xdeath, next entry. I can't believe we only have 3 mages so far in A. This list better heat up soon. Okay, Krill has a okay burst. It does things. It does give her attached fire, which feeds into her OSB, which we're getting in the next event, I believe. She's a decent summoner. She has Bard 4, which you can buy for 3-star motes, which is kind of awesome. So you don't have to waste 4-star motes to unlock her her skill potential. Bard 4 allows you to use Proteka and Shelga, the Bard versions. So that's a great thing to have. Doesn't get LM, but she does have an OSB. I think Krill... Does Krill get boosted into A? So she's kind of similar to Rydia, except Krill has the Sheep Song as a complementary, while Rydia doesn't have anything that can live up to that. So they're very similar characters besides that. Except, and also Krill has Bard, so does Krill get A for that? Sheep Song is a very powerful thing to have. I think Krill deserves it. I think she does. Terra, no. Strago. Does Strago hit A status? So he will get Black Magic 6, Summoning 6, White Magic 4. At the cost of motes, but, you know, whatever. That's reflected in his Record Sphere score, because he he loses damage that he would otherwise get because he has to unlock skills instead of unlocking stats. His BSB is actually awesome. I think B may be a low score for it. I think that's because I don't fully comprehend the power of his burst myself, because I've never seen a magic ability that pierces resistance. It's just an unknown quantity to me. His future is in jeopardy. So can Strago, with just a really good burst, hit A tier? I don't think so. He doesn't have the complementary pieces that Realm has. He just has an ability pool and a burst. That's the extent of what Strago can do. Ninja, yes, pierces resistance. But this Strago's would be the first black magic ability that does. And as far as I know, there are no ninja commands besides Strago's. Or there are no BSB commands that pierce resistance. Yeah. They do tend to leave Final Fantasy VI behind, so I think I'm overvaluing Strago because they gave him a good BSB and then sat him on the bench with the rest of the Final Fantasy VI characters. Just left to wallow in obscurity. So I think I'm gonna keep him at B because his future is like an E-. Kefka is a nope. Red 13, nope. Vincent's a weird duck. He's got support 4, so this gives him consideration immediately. Summoning 4, Darkness 5, which is great. His LM are S tier. Let's go take a look why I rated his LM as S tier. He gets a transformation LM. So increased fire damage, 25% chance to dual cast fire with his LMR. And he gets a something similar to Terra's LM for her Trance Terra. So when he drops below 20% health, he gets refilled to full health, and he gets granted Gallian Beast. What is Gallian Beast? Luckily, we can find that out. Attack, defense, magic resistance, mine, accuracy, and evasion plus 20%, and speed, cast speed 2 times 2. for 25 seconds. What? Well then. Hello, Vincent. So when I was making this list, Vincent and X-Death were the two characters that really popped out to me as characters that I had underrated in my mind. And I hadn't looked up Galleon Beast before, and now that I know that, his burst gives radiant shields and does good damage. He can also be a physical character, which is a neat twist. He's got good complementary soul breaks, gives him attach fire to go with his burst, and he gets a USB called Lucretia's Grief that is all enemies, grants attach fire, so we don't even worry about this super soul break anymore. X mode Cerberus, quick cast 1, and Cerberus attack or magic depending on... So we gotta take a look at this status too. Like, I look at a character like Vincent and say, if Terra had a good burst, I would rate her as well as this. It's crazy. X mode Cerberus grants quick cast 1 after using a fire attack. So this is very similar to Terra's USB, where she starts out with quick cast 1, and then you keep the chain going by maintaining, keep using fire attacks. And since we're evaluating him as a mage primarily, we say he gets Cerberus magic or Cerberus attack. And these are unique statuses, so they would stack with things like Sheep's Song and Ley Lines, even though they're single stat buffs. Vincent is awesome. He's awesome. This is weird. This is so weird. He's totally A tier. He's got great abilities, great soul breaks, great legend materia. Like he's like in Kuja tier. Like Kuja's little pocket in between S and A. This is really awesome. No, it's not literal. Cast speed times 2 is half cast time. Alright, next on the list is Rino. Obviously doesn't make it on the list. He's already on it. It's in E tier. Rinoa is junk right now and only becomes an okay character later. She does not... Despite getting a CSB for Ice, she is the ice holder of the CSB. She cannot break an A tier. Her burst is only okay. Her LM are only A, not S. So Rinoa will be B tier. Quistis is A tier. That's not even a question. She has an OSB that synergizes with her excellent BSB. It's a rare element. She's the best dealer of bio damage in the game. She doesn't get Legend Materia, but it's fine because that is nullified by the fact that she has a great skill set in White Magic 4 and Support 4. Quistis is an easy A. Adia is also an easy A. Fusion's accounted for. Vivi is... Did I come up with a grade on Vivi? Because I think he's on consideration for A. He's at least at the top end of B. It's his LM. His LM puts him up. Let's check him out. increase fire damage. VV gets another trance. All of the, not all, but most of the Final Fantasy IX people get trance mode, similar to Terra and Vincent, because, you know, that's what they did in the game. So, wait a second. Black attacks deal 25% more damage. He is the Black Mage. So what's VV Trance do? VV Trance we see so far. Default duration, 25 seconds. Gives him magic 30% and 50% chance to dual cast magic, black magic abilities. Yeah, that's like S+. For his Legend Materia. And he gets some great soul breaks, so he goes A tier. Plus his OSB is a is a plus fire rod in all realms, so that's kind of awesome. Vivi's the Black Mage. I wish we could have put him as an S tier just in honor, but let's see. We got Kuja. Already determined that he's A. Lulu is not. Braska is not. Seymour is not. Shantoto. Shantoto's a weird duck. Shantoto has a lot of soul breaks. Primordial Elements gives a magic and res buff. That's nice complementary. Her burst is... the reason why her burst is good in comparison to stuff like Lulu and Materia is because not only does she have the fire and ice coverage, but she also has attached lightning. So... I don't know. Should I consider that a benefit, though? Because I have been trying to make the point that you use the characters that excel at things. And while she does do fire and ice damage with her entry and commands, she doesn't excel at them. So... I can't consider her burst to be top tier. It's a B tier burst, and it's a lightning burst. I can't consider fire and ice to be a healthy part of it. This is more for like a starting player, where I'm happy I got this because now I can hit all three of these elements. But for like established players that have been playing for, you know, at least 6 months, you've got other ways, better ways to deal these elemental damage. So it's really just an intermediate lightning burst. With a ninja cast time. She does own the lightning CSB, and this is an awesome complementary soul break to her burst. Grants quick cast 2 to all allies. Yeah, I'll try not to shadow. It's creeping in there though. So that, despite having a B tier burst, may push her into A tier, because not only does she get the lightning CSB, which is actually pretty good, but she also gets a lightning USB. Grants attached lightning, which is a little weird, because that means it's meant to be used outside of her burst, because it wouldn't stack. And X mode dual cast magic. Well, I wonder what that X mode does. Magic 30% and 100% chance to dual cast witch abilities? Why a witch? Why did it have to be witch? Well, that makes her the only viable user of witch abilities in the entire game. Is that enough reason to hone them? So, you know what? I'm not going to consider this to be a good part of Shantoto. So you're either using her burst interchain or you're using her USB interchain, but the problem is that witch abilities are so bad. Why hone witch abilities if only one person is going to use them? Is she a good enough character to make witch abilities honeable? And I gotta answer no, because she only does 2 elements max. Her USB gives her attached lightning, so really she's just a lightning mage. So what do? You bring her to ice stuff just so you can do substandard damage with her USB, and then use the witch 5-star ice to do damage that a real ice mage could beat out just with their burst. I'm sorry, no. Shantoto is going to be A tier, but that's because of her CSB. Unfortunately, I do not care for her USB. I put her at B+, but she gets Legend Materia access, and they're pretty good, if I remember correctly. Which pushes her over. Oh, she doesn't have an LMR. Black attacks do 10% more. Okay. Play rough mode. They're really cashing in on this when your HP falls below 20%. No, you know what? I thought her LM were a lot better than this. I'm gonna have to knock her down to B. I thought she had a dual cast lightning LM. Sorry. You just got voted off the A island. Ash. Good BSB. Great record spheres. She has great Legend Materia with a 35% chance to dual cast lightning. She has an OSB. It's alright, I'm not going to please everybody. And the fact that you're here and that the fact that you disagree is a good thing. What the whole point of this is to give out information that everyone can, use for themselves. And the fact that you disagree means that you have determined that Shantoto is a good mage, so you have decided something for yourself and discovered things about the character and you like them, and that's good. Ash. Ash. Ash, you are a good character. Ash, you are a good character. Can I make a case for you to be put in A? You do have an OSB, which is good. You have great Legend Materia, That 35% lightning dual cast is so nice. She's not as good. She's not as good as Dash, Quistis, that tier. She's not as good as Adia, so I'm sorry, Ash. Until you get more love in Japan, you're B. And looking at this, Ash is so much better than Shantoto. Like, how could I have made a case for Shantoto to be put in A? Vayne, no. Hope, no. Sarah, no. Reigns, yeah, we get to the S tier group. Malik gets A tier. I went over that. Yeah. Ash was formerly one of the best mages in the game. Rain's gonna get B, just because forgotten character. Lost in the closet of DNA. Alright, so this is our A tier. Let me know what you guys think about it. Life Virus, no, this is my own list. It's just my own Google Doc. I put Golbez in there. I can't do it. Is Dash closer to S if you have SSB? That's factored in, and no. Dash would need Legend Materia to be considered for S tier. What is it? What did I think that's a good point. I think my idea of what is considered A tier changed over the course of while I was making it. And I don't think Krill belongs. She's really versatile, but her burst is just average. She's only average damage output, and it's really only her versatility that made me consider it. But if Ash isn't A tier, then neither is Krill. So I think that's a fair call. Trying to edit it from here. Yeah, Terra has a really bad BSB, which means that her awesome USB and LM don't have fuel. You basically need to rank 5 Chain Faraga for her to be good. Which, that's kind of fair. Hey, Logi. And yeah, she gets neglected. As weird as that is. One of the main characters in the game. Rap doesn't do any damage. What makes support 4 such a good thing for characters is generally to get out their burst. In Terra's case, her burst stinks. Yeah, the trance is nice, except that it needs fuel. And that's Terra's problem. Like she is a good burst away from S tier. But for now she's like B. Unfortunately, Wrath and Battleforge firing OSBs with that combo is lower damage output than others can do. It's just not that high. I mean, think of it this way. You Wrath twice, and then OSB, you'd actually just do more damage with 3 Chain Faragas and a lower cast time. She doesn't have the fuel. Alright, so we're going to move on to B. This will get easier as we go on. That definitely took less time than the S tier did. Okay, we already know that Echo is going to be B tier. We're going to have a lot of B tier mages. Materia, no. Maya, I would say yes. No, I think I'm going to have to put... See, C is supposed to be average. The average mage. And Maya, I believe, qualifies for average mage. Maria's already accounted for. Emperor is... He gets a USB. Ah, man, I hate having to look over stuff that I already looked over. Oh yeah, he has a lot of good coverage. Like, he has individual things that don't really work well with the rest of what he does, but those individual things are good. Imperil Earth, 8 group. Oh, the attack magic and resistance debuff. It's so cool. He can Radiant Shields, which I suppose does work well with everything. He has an attached Wind Burst, which does Wind and Dark damage, which doesn't synergize with his USB at all. So he's got interesting soul breaks. On the back of that Dark 5 and White Magic 4, can we put Emperor in B? Is he? I think he's better than the average mage, because that USB, I think, pushes him over. So I'm going to put Emperor in. Dash is cool. COD. Same skill set as Emperor. Oh no, one of these, Emperor has summoning, doesn't he? Yeah, he's definitely better than the average mage. COD's burst gives Radiant Shield, which is a neat thing to have on a burst, because while it doesn't increase your straight-up damage output, it's going to increase your party's damage output. But she doesn't have a future, so it's like that Radiant Shield is making up for the fact that the burst doesn't add anything. So COD, Cloud of Darkness is average. Rydia is B tier. She has an OSB and a good BSB. Palom is B tier because he has a high damage burst. This is going to be a big tier. Fusoya, no, sorry. Golbez, yep. Because it breaks my heart I couldn't put him in A. Gogo. It's hard to even correctly assess Gogo, just because of the weirdness of his burst command. But he's a dead character. He is Gogo. He is the mimic, and that is what he does. No, I'm gonna have to put him. I'm gonna have to put Gogo in C. X-Death, Krill is definitely B. Terra. Is Terra good enough for B considering her USB? Yes. Strago. Kefka. Are you better than the average mage? Yes, a Golbez Rydia event would be awesome. Yeah, she's tier B just because her USB is as good as it is, and her LM are good. Kefka. Can you qualify Kefka? Kefka's is one of those double BSB people. And his second one is Attached Dark. His first is Attached Poison, and it actually just stinks. The commands are just... They inflict statuses and don't do anything special other than that. Oh god, and then his second command is a dance. Oh, it's great. Because that's what we want to be doing with our mages, if we can help it. I like having the option to do that. Like, for someone with Dancer, like, do I want to throw this in their ability pool? Sure. Do I want to have one of my burst commands taken up by something I could do with abilities instead? No. So yeah, his BSB 1 stinks. Does his BSB 2 catapult him into B tier? I have no idea. This is so weird. He's like the mage version of Raijin. I guess if it's as good as Raijin, because Raijin actually is a higher damage output physical character because of his weirdness. But I don't know, one of the things that makes Raijin good is because of the utility of the heal as well. This is just pure damage. What is madness? Let's see if I can get to the bottom of what makes this burst tick. Oh, so it's a stacking magic buff. Well, that is a lot worse than I thought it was going to be. As far as I know, the magic soft cap has not been raised in Japan. It's still 1024 or 1054. Meaning that as we get more and more buffs on our team, the magic soft cap becomes easier and easier to hit. So this isn't really that much of a damage output increase. So okay, he does. Six single attacks at 3.0 each after 4 uses of Descent into Madness. So it's meant to be use it the first command 4 times for 2 single attacks of 2.2 each, and then you get a good command. It is an 18.0 multiplier. No. I'm sorry. Like, handicapping yourself by being forced to use that first command 4 times is just rough. With Raijin, you use that first command and you get healing out of it. This is just piss poor damage output. Sorry, Kefka. Red 13, no. Vincent was A tier. Rina, no. Rinoa, yes. Rinoa is better than the average mage. Not now, but she has a bright future. Or a brighter future. Not A tier bright, but the CSB plus her BSB2 makes her a better than average mage. And she gets Legend Materia. Quistis accounted for. Quistis the Diafusion. All just burying the last sorceress in the dust. VV's accounted for. Kuja. Lulu. Are you better than the average mage? I don't think so. I think Lulu belongs in C or D, to be honest. Lulu's burst is just wretched. Hi, I can do ice, fire, and water damage, but I do all of them poorly. And then she has her USB, which is straight up ice. Grants magic and resistance to the user, not to the party. Everyone's got magic and resistance to the party buffs. But you're selfish. You keep it to yourself. Grants attach ice and hits a cast 2 to the user. I mean, that just means that her USB is like a BSB, except you need to use Chain Blizzaga instead of someone else being able to use commands. So, yeah. Sorry, Lulu, you're C tier at best. Even with a USB, how sad is that? Braska. Braska belongs in B tier. But I guess, I mean, if I put Rinoa there, because Rinoa is basically crap right now. And so is Braska. I mean, Braska's better than Rinoa. Because at least Braska has the high summoner robe. But Braska gets a BSB that's actually really good. And I have been accounting for the future for everybody else, and I did for Rinoa, so... next Final Fantasy X event, Braska becomes B tier. Seymour is just an average Dark Mage. He's C tier. Shantota was B. Ash is B. Vayne. Yeah, Quistis is tier A. At the end of every tier, I go back to the list and I show it to everybody, so you'll be able to take a look at it. And we're approaching the end of B tier. Vayne. Nope. Sorry. I remember seeing his OSB and not being that impressed. Because Vayne has an OSB. Hey. What's up? Divine Sword, Dark and Holy. Deals physical 12 or magical 40. So he really is just the hybrid. I don't know. Maybe he does belong in B, because he does get attached dark with his BSB. Which leads into making his OSB okay. Does that make him better than the average mage? And he does have a decent complementary Super Soul Break here that does a bit of damage and gives instant cast 1 to all allies. I think Vayne is actually a B tier mage. He's better than average. Okay. I'm not sure how I feel about it, and we'll reassess when we get to the end, but I mean, by that definition, he belongs there. Hope. Yeah, Hope belongs in B. I mean, he gets a varied amount of soul breaks. He has an OSB that synergizes well with one of his attached soul breaks, or burst soul breaks. He just doesn't have a future, but he's still B tier. Sarah is average. Sarah is an average mage under every regard, except for the fact that she has Endless Blessings Super Soul Break, which I don't believe is enough to push her to B tier. Reigns is accounted for, so is Papa, Elf, Rafa, Malik, and Rain. Rain is going to probably be B tier. She's got a good skill set, plus she has a high damage burst. No, I guess it's the same. It's not the same as Sarah. Sarah doesn't have any ability coverage. I think what pushes Rain over is her... she does have a high damage Ice Burst. Alright, I wanna take a look at the stats on Rain, just to confirm it. Her Super Soul Break sucks. She gets an attached ice. I'm moving towards C tier. Because she's a dead character. And simply exploiting vulnerability does not... giving her increased damage output while exploiting vulnerability does not make it worth it. If this restores HP to user 25%, restores HP to lowest party member, like Rafa's, then that I would feel a lot better about that. But I'm gonna put Rain C tier. Rain doesn't get it one. The X is 0. None. She's a mage with no future. Alright, so we have assembled our B team. Everyone take a look at that, see what they think about it. I'll take a small little break for some Q&A. And if anyone wants to make a case to move someone to a different tier, totally willing to listen. Make Golbez and Rydia great again. Hashtag it. No, I said I was going to, but then I just determined that she's just average. This was the hardest. I suppose I should just stay with the mage motif and go white mages. CSB and USB for all? What do you mean? Like, have a stream that analyzes all CSBs and USBs? Yeah, I'm surprised. I never expected to put Vincent in A tier, but after reading the myriad of things that he does, I think he deserves it. Vincent, the good vein. Let's see, CSBs and USBs. Alpha No gets a USB. Rafa gets a USB. Xdeath gets a USB. Vincent gets a USB. Malik gets a USB. If I'm going to do a white mage equivalent, please separate them into attacking and healing. I think a strong case for me made for separate categories. What I'm going to do is No. I'm not going to evaluate a white mage that can only attack. I'm going to view a white mage's ability to attack as being a benefit if it doesn't infringe on their ability to heal. Because at the end of the day, they're meant to heal. If there are any white mages that you can think of that strictly attack and don't bother with healing, then I can assess them differently, and I will. But I can't think of any. I would love Rydia and Golbez to be nice. What are they doing? I'll have a discussion on making them. I don't know if I want to... theory crafting is weird because I know that like my views on game design and game balance aren't listened to by the company itself. Mimu's is strictly attack commands. I know he has a haste entry. But I thought he had something that did healing. But I don't know, in order for to consider something a healing BSB, it's got to have a Medica command, doesn't it? In Instacast Kiraja, is that enough? So, Strider, the people that you're referring to, like, I'm guessing, well, we got Vanille, Penello. Who else has attack commands? So that's why, I mean, I'd like to, but the category is just so small that I might as well, consider them different. Oh, Selfie, that's true. Okay, no problem, Sketch. Lena, I always forget about Lena. So there we got 4. I guess I could just evaluate them based on their healing capability as part of everybody else, and then talk to you about... I could just do that now since it's such a small group. As white mages healers with offensive potential, I would choose Vanille, Penello, Lena, Selfie. Mog, I would consider more of a support than a healer. Just because he has that Instacast Kiraga command, probably wouldn't be enough for me to throw him in. It's more like he's a support dancer, also with a heal command that he can use if needed. Eris has an attack command? I thought she just had a Kiraga or a Kiraja and a Medica command. Though, I guess you did Kappa me. Yeah. Yeah, we were just looking at Minwu. Minwu is horrific. I can't even consider Minwu's burst a healer burst. That's how bad it is. Yeah, the support discussion is going to be fun. And yes, Mog belongs in it. I'm pretty sure that support tier list is going to be anybody with Dancer 5 or Support 5. This Dancer is a legitimate form of support now. And it's why characters like Echo, Kate Sith, and Mog just came out of nowhere and became... Yeah, I don't think Mimu's entry heals. It's really just a terrible burst. Though it was nice for Nightmare Everay. Okay. I wasted a little bit too much time there. We're going to move on to C tier. That's fair. Yeah, I think Una BSB2 works. Because it's a legitimate form of damage, as well as being a good healer burst. Van won't be on the support list. Van will be on the offensive. Well, however I decide to demarcate defensive or offensive characters. And having support 4 will be considered a strong case as to why the character is so good. Instead of being a support. Alright, C tier. I have a question at the end of this tonight because it's off topic for today, but this is... Okay, sure. C tier. Materia, do you qualify? Your burst stinks, and... you have nothing else going for you except for White Mage 5. Sorry, Materia, you are a D tier mage. Maya is C tier. Emperor was B, Dash was A, COD belongs here. Rydia, Palom, Tella, Fusoya. Dagger BSB2 doesn't count because it only heals with a single target command. Again, it's like Mogs and Mimwus. They're not really healer BSBs. I would consider daggers more of a damage BSB. AoE summoning, whatever. Which means it's not really going to get evaluated. I'll think about where to evaluate Garnet. Fusoya does not belong here. Golbez, Gogo. Was Gogo on the previous list? No, he's on this one. Exdeath, Krill, Terra, Strago. Kefka did not make it onto the last list. He belongs here. Vincent, Rinoa, Quistis, Dia, Fusion, Vivi, Kuja, Lulu. Lulu, do you belong here? Does your USB validate a C? Since your BSB is so wretched. I guess so. You're like Materia, except you got a good USB. Or a fair... Okay, a serviceable USB. Remember, it's the magic and resistance to self buff. It's really just garbage. Why does DNA hate you, Lulu? She gets LM. That'll push her over. What's Lulu's LM? 35% chance to dual cast ice abilities. Okay. This isn't that good. You can get up to 20% for every black ice magic ability. Gets +1 magic. That's garbage. But you still C tier because that 35% chance to dual class ice makes you not as awful. Braska. We put Braska in B because he belongs there. Seymour is average. You belong here. Shantotes is B. Ash is B. Vane was B. Hope was B. Sarah is C. And Rain. So that was a quick tier. Very short break for C because of how quick that was. Is everyone okay with our C tier? And D is going to be really easy because everybody that didn't appear in anything else goes there. Oh, is it not big enough? Sorry. C is Maya, Cloud of Darkness. I'll make that bigger later. Gogo, Kefka, Lulu, Seymour, Sarah, Rain. I guess Dear T is just Materia. I may consider expanding a little bit by dropping some B into C so we can fill out D a little more. Or is that just manipulating tiers just to make everything even? That's not really fair. I think people belong where they should belong. B is above average. C is average. And I feel like there was a strong case for all these to be valid above average mages. So they belong there. Okay. So yeah, let's go over that again. Echo, Materia. Materia belongs in D. I'm gonna take a look at Maya again. Maybe she's a D mage. No, her burst is actually decent. Yeah, she's got the Stitch in Time command as a summon command. Yeah, she's fine. That's definitely not D material. Materia can't hope to contend with that. Cloud of Darkness. So she has a C BSB and nothing else going for her. But complementary was B. Did I put that because she gets the attached dark Super Soul Break? I think COD... no. Having White Magic 4 and Dark 5 makes her at least average. Rydia Palom, Tella. No, Tella's definitely E. He's just junk. He can't do anything. Oh, Fusoya. Materia, you have a friend. The geriatric D tier. Golbez, Gogo, X-Death, Krill, Terra, Strago, Kefka. I love Fusoya. It's another Final Fantasy IV character that they got, DNA has got lost in Fusoya's beard. Ah, man. Lulu. If you didn't have that LM, you would be caretaker of the elderly in D tier. Braska, Seymour, Shantoto, Ashvane, Hope, Sarah Reigns, Papalimo, Alphino, Alpha. Blah, blah, blah. Yep. So there we go. That's our D tier. Alright, so we are at the end. Our S tier. A. B, C, D. Alright, Q&A before I go over the tiers themselves and why the characters belong in the tier that they do. This is going to be our TLDR for those that haven't been... that don't want to watch the entire... What, we got 3 hours, 2.5 hours? Oh, if you have any questions, I would just ask to wait until I'm done my summarization of each tier. because you'll have a pretty good idea of what we talked about. Alright. No questions, and I'm going to get on with assessing the tier. Who are the hardest characters for me to rank? Kuja. Kuja's borderline S tier. Alphino was tough. He was borderline A tier. Oh, that's a good question. Yes. Well, I'll go show you on the database now. Again, we use the same trick I used on the ability page. Sort Z to A, and it'll show highest rank first. So, Black Magic arranged by people with Black 5. Maya is coming, but she's on the list because she's coming soon. Rubicante. I'm going to reduce the zoom on this. This is... Oh, no, it's fine. Rubicante is a Black 5, White 5, and Darkness 5. I haven't looked at the Soul Break, so I don't know where I put them, but at least that's a solid start. Gogo, we looked at him. Gogo 6, I don't know anything about. He must be, like, brand new in Japan. But that's a... He's all hybrid-y. I was waiting for Gil to appear, but... So, Nabat is an Imperil Dark Mage, similar to Kuja, but instead of dealing the damage that Kuja does, Nabat's real, like, primary strength is she has support 4. Which is, you know, awesome. And she's also Darkness 5 and, yeah, Witch, whatever. Does she get... She doesn't get Legend Materia. Would I put her in A tier? We'll wait for Rubicante until after I'm done the summary. I think Nabat is more present because we're going to be getting her like 2 events after the Extreme Festival that's coming in June. So it's actually fairly soon, just it was past the point at which I was evaluating. And she's an important mage to evaluate because it will be on a very, very... if you're going by my recommendation, it's a very good banner. It's the Lightning USB Sid Reigns OSB banner. I do think that having support 4 makes her worthy of A tier. But her burst itself is kind of iffy. Yeah, the Lightning Reigns of the Bot banner is really good. So... past it. Here we go. Her Super Soul Break is actually extremely good. Holy shit. Wow. Random attacks, attack magic minus 50% for 25 seconds. That is a hell of a complimentary Super Soul Break. Carrying on to her bursts, we have random attacks and Peril Dark. Sure, this is basically a carbon copy of Kuja's so far. Her commands. 8.96. Single attacks. So a basic first command for single target. So Kuja definitely beats her there. And her second is 2 group attacks, 25% chance to inflict imperil. This is probably Though Kuja does more damage, I just wonder, like 20% chance to inflict an Imperil Dark 10? How valuable is this? Does this stack with the normal 60% Imperil? The BSB is a mage sword? Okay. I don't know how I feel about this. In an AoE situation, this is actually awesome. I'm wondering how I would find a way to use this against a single target, because I feel like the first command would be better. BSB Relic has no element plus damage, so how does she get plus dark on her weapon? What's her weapon selection like? Dagger, sword, rod, staff. Basically you're looking at Kuja's OSB. Kuja's OSB is a all realm plus dark damage rod, by the way. Oh, she gets whips too, for all the good that does. Imperil's 20%, but you could get it up to 60 by 3 stacking it. That's why I'm asking, is the 10% considered part of that chain? Or could you potentially get it up even further to like 90? So 3 stacking the 20% and 3 stacking the 10%. Considering the fact that she has support 4 and her super soul break is as awesome as it is, and the fact that she is an Imperil dark user with support means that she, as a mage, is going to have a lot more soul break to throw around than other mages will, which gives like more weight to her complementary super soul break. I'm gonna say that Nabat would be A tier. Alright, so now I'm going to go into the summaries. That's the only one. We had Rubicante. I'm not going to go into Gogo because while I know something about Rubicante, I know nothing about Gogo. Final Fantasy VI Gogo. Because we needed that instead of Terra Relics, right? The salt. Anyway, S tier belongs to these 5 Intrepid Mages. And 1 foot through the door, Kuja. Fusion, Sid Reigns, Papalimo, Alphino, Rafa. The reason Fusion is in S tier is because she ticks off all of the boxes. She has a really, really awesome debuff Burst Soul Break that does high damage and has great utility. It is, it's really just an excellent burst. And the only reason Malik's similar one doesn't add up to it is because it doesn't have the instacast entry. And the fact that it's harder to capitalize on Malik's element than it is for Fusion's, because with Fusion, automatically you have, if you have her BSB, you have a wind plus weapon. Plus it's easy to get a wind plus armor, and Malik can't do that with lightning. Or, and dark is a little difficult too, because the best dark stuff is whatever. Anyway, Fusion's just awesome. Malik, like I know I'm mentioning here, he really is budging. Like he's right behind Kuja is trying to get into S tier if you consider the new USB that he got in Japan. But Fusion is a lot, her power comes a lot more recently because it's going to be shortly after the next festival where she gets her OSB, she gets her Legend Materia and her Legend Spheres, and just turns into a monster. Sid Reigns is Sid Reigns. I hope I don't have to talk about how good he is. They just made him really awesome and gave him an awesome burst. And then they made him even better by giving him an awesome OSB with on a weapon that increases dark damage in all realms. just making him awesome everywhere, doing all things. I don't understand. Like, what did this character do to deserve being as overpowered as he is? Moving on, we have Papa Limo, who has a... He's very similar to Fusion, except Fusion is more utility-focused and debuff-focused, while Papa Limo just deals gobs of damage. He gets a double cast fire LM that pairs together perfectly with his 6-hit fire command, and he has an OSB that capitalizes on dealing fire damage. It is increased in its damage is increased by the amount of fire attacks you do. He just does a whole lot of damage. Like, I can't think of anybody that can deal as much damage as he does just by himself. And he has the complementary ley lines to go with it. Like, there aren't many things that Papalymo does poorly. He's so good at all of those things that he belongs in this tier. Alphino is an interesting little pipsqueak. He barely made it into this group, and he only did because he does some weirdo stuff with his Ether command, in addition to the fact that he gets an extremely high damage burst, and he can do really high damage AoE with and his burst is summon command, so any command or any like mechanic that is based around dealing counters is just trivialized by his ability to ignore them. So he made it in because he'll always have a place. He's obviously belongs on every single win team, but he can double as someone that can plausibly belong on any AoE team. And he can deal a lot of damage in different elements if it's necessary elsewhere, because of his insane ability access, and the ability to be a competent single target white mage. Rafa is in this tier not only because of her S tier burst soul break, but the fact that she also gets a very good USB to pair with it. Her USB really is what set it apart. And her Legend Materia are also top of the class as well. So she really just is great now and just gets better in the future. And really, going down from here, it's more about why didn't the A-teamers get into S tier instead of the other way around. I agree. I do like the idea and where they're going with stuff like Alphino's USB. I just, from the sound of it, like, thinking about it in my head, I don't think it's that good. But I mean, it's something to consider as part of his power level. I just didn't when I made the, I didn't consider it that strongly towards a case for him, because I feel like he does what he does so well as is. That it's more like his USB seems like an incremental upgrade for his AoE damage. It's weird because his USB synergizes best with stuff like Neo Bahamut, but the problem is you can't get the hones on Neo Bahamut very high. You're like 2, 3 max, and that your hone level, it directly affects how powerful your summons are with his USB. Anyway, moving on. Maria belongs in A because she just deals gobs of damage. She doesn't have the future potential of Papalymo, but at least Maria does have an OSB to pair with her gigantic BSB. It's a rare element. As far as I know, it is the only Earth element that we have in the A and S tier. so it's nice for the coming Magicite dungeons. She'll be your premier Earth Mage. You'll be your premier Earth character. Desh gets in here because he has a really high damage Stitch of Time burst with a quick magic attacks first command for dealing a whole lot of single target damage, coupled with the fact that he is a Bard 4 and a Support 4. So the Support 4 means that awesome, and Bard 4 means that he can also cast Proteka and Shalka for you if you need it on your team. So great damage and great utility, A tier. X-Def is basically here for Grand Cross. He's good beyond Grand Cross, but normally I would just consider him C to B. He is in A because of his Grand Cross USB that will be coming out. Not in the next Final Fantasy V event, but the Final Fantasy V event after that. It's a really, really good USB, and it is the reason why he's here. Also, I believe he has great Legend Materia potential. Yeah, he does. And that's why, too. So, X-Death is not a neglected character, and they treat him right. They wine and dine the X-Death. Vincent is a surprise. I think it was tough to make a case like going into this, but once I started digging into the strengths and weaknesses of the different characters, Vincent I couldn't deny him because he does all the things. He's got an expansive ability pool, including support 4. This is a very important thing because part of what makes Vincent so good is his variety of soul breaks that really work well together, including his burst, which does a fairly decent amount of damage. But the reason why I think I was down on Vincent is because by itself, Vincent's burst isn't that great. But he has so many complementary things, including amazing Legend Materia and a really cool USB that gets him there. And the Darkness 5 and the Summoning 4 really just round it out. Quistis is in a very similar situation to Maria. She doesn't have the damage output as that Maria does, but there's a big difference. So Quistis has, she's similar to Maria in that she does the poison damage, where none of the other good mage bursts do. So that's cool. She doesn't do Maria's damage output because Maria's got that 6-hit command. But she does have the Stitch of Time command, and Quistis is very much just catapulted into A-Team because of Support 4 access. Support 4 access is a real common theme in the high-tier Mage Bursts. And it's basically why Gilles Nabat, the Final Fantasy 13 mage, gets up here as well. Why does Adia belong here? A lot of the same reasons that Maria does. Maria is in here because of her BSB, her OSB, and her White Magic 4 access, while Adia just is the Ice Mage, and she gets in here because of Memento Mori access and the scaling 6-hit Ice command. I know that by itself that probably isn't as good as Maria, but it's definitely clearly better than B tier. So Adia would be considered lower on the A tier than Maria, but she still belongs here because that 6-hit command is just that powerful. It's like considering Maria a 95 and Adia a 92. It's we just don't have enough tiers to separate them. VV gets love. He gets a BSB 2. He has an OSB, which comes on an amazing relic. And what really gets VV into the A-Team is his Legend Materia access. I'm just going to briefly go to his Legend Materia. I won't look up the status itself except to tell you that his VV Trance is really good. But We have Focused Magic, which increases his black attack damage output, and his VV Trance, which increases his damage output by a lot. And, you know, I guess there's always the utility of the healing to yourself to 100% when you drop below 20. But anyway, VV becomes an assault battery and has a lot of good soul breaks. I'd consider him probably in the lower end of A, but he still belongs in A. Kuja is just awesome. He does so many good things, and they're all like simple and easy to understand things. His burst soul break is the best Imperil Dark's burst. His commands increase damage potential is triggered by having Doom status, which is a fairly easy thing to do when you're a Dark Mage. And his OSB's increased damage potential is triggered by being doomed, so that's fairly pretty easy too. Kuja has great Legend Materia, if I remember correctly. Where are you, buddy? Yeah, he does. I think he double casts darkness abilities, or dark damage. Oh god. I need to look that up. Okay. That's a very important distinction that everyone needs to be made aware of. It's a chance to dual cast dark abilities. That means dark element. If it were the darkness school, which is different, then that would be bad. That would be a very bad thing, because that would apply to basically nothing that Kuja does. And I want to make a short note of why that is relevant, because Mage burst commands are all black magic. None of them are darkness school. There's a difference between dark element and darkness school, and that comes into play strongly in record sphering. When you're record sphering people, take care for people like Kuja not to buy darkness damage plus 6%, because it only increases the damage of your Memento Mori. That is the only darkness ability that he uses, other than, I don't know if you want to throw Dark Zone on him, but I don't think you're using Kuja for Dark Zone. You're using him for his BSB, which is much better than Dark Zone. So it's actually just a dead sphere. It's the dark element damage that is a relevant sphere. Darkness is not. Moving on, we have Malik, and I talked about why Malik is so good is because he is awesome in many ways. Has a really good BSB that loses to fusions only barely, and he has great Legend Materia, and he gets a USB that I mean, I need to look at it again just to convince myself, or just to show myself that it's a reality. Kamja cooperate. What is that? I don't remember that word from the game at all. Anyway, an instacast damaging lightning soul break that grants Magic Blink 1 to all allies and magic breakdowns at random attack level. It's just awesome. That's just awesome coming from a mage. Yeah, please. His burst does ninja cast commands, and that's why it's forgivable that it doesn't have like the increased damage output from its opener. Well, it sort of does with the. It's like fusions. Her damage doesn't seem as high as it could be, but when you consider that you have a team full of mages exploiting the fact that she is reducing everyone's resistance by 40 to 20%, then it's really high. Anyway, Malik gets that. He has an awesome Super Soul Break. He's just a really good character all around. And they give him stuff in the future, which is exactly what you want to see. See you, Strider. Thanks for being around. Kuja's BSB does not use darkness commands, Mexter. They are dark element black magic commands. I'm going to talk about that. I need to talk about that. It's really important. There are different aspects, different types that they have done to these all abilities and commands in the game that are really confusing and that causes stuff like that to happen. So let's find Kuja. The type is black. They're magical. The element is dark. So black, BLK. That's why I like to use BLK, because this isn't even the only time black is used in the description. The element is dark. That's why dark damage increase, dark damage double cast is relevant. But darkness isn't, because darkness refers to something else. It refers to the school of an ability. Mage bursts all use black magic school. They do not use darkness, so things that describe as double casting darkness or increasing darkness damage do not affect them. So this is mostly important for when you're determining what RM to use, a record materia, because you want to use something that accurately buffs up what you're doing. So Kuja's primary RM, well, Kuja's probably a bad example since he has no support access. He's probably going to be someone that you use Dr. Mark's teachings or Mako Might with. But let's say someone with support 4, like Jilnabat or Sid Reigns. A better RM for them, if you want to increase their damage output, would be Garland's. Record materia. Garland's True Madness increases dark damage dealt by 30%, but you wouldn't want to use something Come on. Do me some favors. Like Cecil's, darkness abilities deal 40%. This is referring to the darkness school, while Garland's is referring to dark the element. And also, I've seen a lot of people using X-Deaths, and that runs into the same difficulty. 13% chance to dual cast darkness abilities. This refers to Darkness School, which doesn't occur in magical burst commands, and it would occur, or it would affect Memento Mori or Dark Zone or Dire Heal, but not the actual burst commands. Okay, so with that out of the way, we're moving on. B. Echo is really cool, and Echo is going to occur high on a list that I do for support support characters. She just does interesting things that set her apart from the average, which is her support capability, and I'm also going to consider her mage capability as being a benefit when I evaluate her as a support as well. And she has great buffing potential with her BSBs. Emperor. Why did I like Emperor? Because he's got a good USB. He has an interesting array of things that make him non-standard. Plus a good ability pool. Unfortunately, no LM. Like, I'm starting to doubt myself. Like, is White Magic 4 and Dark 5 enough to make him B tier? Emperor might be C. Because none of his stuff works well together with each other. It's more like you use one thing and then you've got the dude. I'm actually thinking he's C tier. Anyway, Rydia belongs in B tier because she has a good burst that does summon damage, so it doesn't elicit counters, and she has an OSB that works well with her BSB. And that's why she's here, because DNA isn't certainly doing any favors for beyond that. Palom's in B tier because he has a very high damage and high coverage. And he has one of the more interesting bursts, because what Palom does is He exploits many vulnerabilities, and his damage increase isn't limited to something like Attach Lightning or Attach Ice or Fire or whatever. He does more damage as long as you're exploiting vulnerability. That is exactly what you want on a burst that has coverage. Unlike Lulu, unlike Materia, they focus on certain things or just do nothing good. Palom does everything fairly well above average. That's why Palom is good. Golbez is a unique being. He's not top of his class at anything. Well, he is top of his class at being a tank mage. It's just, it's doubtful. I cast doubt on how valuable that really is. It's more like Golbez is if we were rating characters by how fun they are to play, he would be S tier. But how effective they are and how well they're treated in the future, he's B tier. Krill has a lot of good things going for her. He has great coverage and stuff like that. And she has, like, Krill being here is like, leaves more credibility to Emperor being out. Like, Krill is just everything Emperor wishes he could be. So I'm going to move Emperor into C, because he just doesn't do anything so great that he exceeds C tier. Like, Maya is like, I don't know, yeah. He's just, it's just harder to evaluate him because the way the character's created and built, it's not typical. So I don't know, I feel like I erred in evaluating him. Krill is here because she's definitely better than average. Her burst is average, but she makes up for it in the fact that she has Sheep Song and an OSB and Summoning and Bard 4. So that's a lot of things that make her exceptional. Or just better than average. Terra is maligned. She's so close to being S tier, but instead gets relegated to B just because she has a bad burst. She has practically a burst not even worth using because the damage output is so piss poor. Even used with her USB, you still need to cast her BSB, which has a wretched entry that doesn't do fire damage and capitalizes on all the good things that Terra does. So even that is substandard. It's just, I'm sorry, Terra. Terra's in B because she gets a USB soon that actually makes her a viable fire cannon. And you just need to hone Chain Faraga until she gets a good burst to take advantage of it. A BSB 2 for Terra would change everything. Strago is really cool, but one of those Forgotten 6 characters. They gave him an awesome burst. I can rate it A tier burst. Unfortunately, I throw him down to B tier because while he has a good skill set in White Magic 4 and Summoning 6, unfortunately, he doesn't get anything else. He's just got that burst and his skill set. The reason why he's where he is because he is the water burst. And no one else good has that. Maya's is okay. It's not as good as Drago's, though. Rinoa gets B tier because she gets a little love in the future and on a good banner. On a good Magicite banner that's focused almost exclusively on wind and ice. It's just good, and it gives her a Chainsaw Break for ice, which is, it's okay. And it gives her a pretty okay Burstle Break, too. So why is she B if she's just okay? Because even her LM aren't that great. I guess it's everything combined. When you throw together that she gets LM, and they're okay. She gets a CSB, she has an OSB, she has a decent BSB 2. That's what gets her in B. And that's more than a lot of C tier characters can say. Braska is in here because of his good skill set. and his BSB2, which is a really good fire burst, and he has his high summoner's robe, which is a great complementary Faithka. I suppose you could make a case for Braska in C, but I feel like when we went over him that we settled correctly on B tier. Shantoto's got 1 foot in A. We almost put her in A. I was just really unimpressed by the things that she gets in the future. It's like, it's kind of similar to how Vincent like catapults to near the top of the rankings while she just kind of putters and doesn't make it. She's a lightning mage that can do other things okay. So, I don't know, she just... Do we really rate the things that she can do okay as being part of her... the strength of her kit? And I suppose they're okay, they're just not that big of a boon. Do they overtake the fact that Dush is a better lightning mage than her? And has support 4 access? No. Ashe is also a better lightning mage than Shantoto. But Shantoto, while not being as good as Ashe, as strictly as a lightning mage, those other little things make her at least equal to Ashe, from a usability standpoint, because of her CSB and her USB. Okay, Vayne. Why is Vayne in here? Is it because of his OSB and the fact that he's a physical hybrid? A passable physical hybrid? Oh, no, I remember. Legend Materia. Legend Materia, he gets an OSB in the future. He's got good Super Soul Break that gives everyone instacast. I remember. Yeah, he's valid. But it's that Legend Materia that I wasn't thinking of that pushes him over. And Hope is in here because Hope has a lot of things. He does a lot of things. He has an OSB. He has 2 BSBs that do different stuff. So, I don't know. He's definitely better than average. That's for sure. He's got a good skill set. But that OSB and the second BSB, complimentary B. He's better than average. Hope's weird. C tier Maya. It just becomes easy to describe them from this point. These are just average mages, or it barely better than average in, say, like Rain's point, or Sarah's. Sarah has an average burst, but has Endless Blessings as a good complementary Super Soul Break. It's just barely better than average, not good enough for B. Seymour is just Lulu, why? Why is Lulu here? I know I just went over this, like, recently. It's the LM, okay. I always go back to the LM because that's not something that as a global-only player, it's not something that pops into my head immediately. Lulu is in here because of the LM, that's it. Otherwise, she'd be D tier. Kefka, despite the fact that he has 2 bursts, they're both kind of meh, and he's just average. Go-Go is a wild card. I mean, rate him as you want. I put him in C because I don't know how to rate him. He has a Mimic command on his burst that's really weird. If you want to go ahead and try using it to its full effect, please, by all means, try. Maybe he's S tier. Screw it. I don't know. Cloud of Darkness, Maya, Old Person D tier, Matoya and Fusoya. At least, Matoya is better than Fusoya. I may just... Is Futoya's Sorry, Fusoya's Magic, Mind, Imperil worth putting him in D? Because he doesn't even have a burst. Materia at least has that going for her. I may drop Fusoya to E tier. He's really poor character. As much as I love the Mysterious Beard, I don't know if he belongs here. In E tier, Tella because he's just terrible. I mean, he's very similar to Fusoya, so I don't know why I don't consider him part of this group. Because Tella does have an attack magic buff, a really bad one. At least Fusoya's is better than that, but barely. No bursts, and these two are just not really mages. Reno has the option to be a mage, but his burst is physical. It's a fairly decent physical lightning burst. And I suppose you could cast it theoretically and use Chain Thundaga, but that's not enough to move him out of E. He doesn't really do much. Okay, whew, we're done that.